hello, as I take a sip of water, and Merry Christmas to you all, whoever's watching out there. Um, and welcome to Season 2, Race 4 of my F1 career mode. And we're here for our first race in F1 on the career mode at the Chinese Grand Prix, the Shanghai International Circuit. And we've qualified P6, which is not too shabby. Ferrari and Mercedes split the front row. They do split the front row and the second row. I split the Red Bulls, and McLaren is 8 and 9. Better qualifying for result for my teammate Nico Hulkenberg. He's P14. And poor results for the home country hero Zhou Guanyu, dead last on the grid. Let's take a look at the championship standings again and see where things are at as of now. After 3 races, we currently lead the championship by 5 points after our victory in Australia in the mixed conditions. George Russell sitting in second, Sebastian Vettel third, Lando Norris fourth, Carlos Sainz fifth, Lewis Hamilton sixth, Charles Leclerc in seventh, Max Verstappen in 8th, and Daniel Ricciardo in 9th place. The reason why I went to the top 9 is because the top 9 are separated by a race victory, which is pretty impressive after 3 races. It's a pretty tight championship, especially given that Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull, and Ferrari are all very close in the vehicle performance. So, should be interesting to see how things play out for the rest of the season. And actually, the qualifying results here are interesting because the vehicle performance comparison actually has Red Bull as the best car right now. And it's sort of funny, too, because the vehicle performance comparison has exactly been 100% accurate because it shows Aston Martin, I think, as the 5th best team. Yeah, Oscar Piastri and Lawrence Stroll are pretty much nowhere, whereas Alpine are at the bottom of the running order right now in terms of vehicle performance, yet Ocon and Alonso still seem to be performing pretty well, at least through the first 2 races. So maybe that's just, the driver factor coming into play, and, maybe it's just the fact that, Alonso and Ocon are just better drivers than Piastri and Ocon. Could be it. I don't know. But I do find that interesting. And as it pertains to the front of the field battle, again, it's interesting that Red Bull has the fastest car, or the best car right now, as you can see here by the vehicle performance comparison. Mercedes and Ferrari actually have worse cars, relatively speaking, compared to McLaren and Red Bull, yet this weekend, maybe it's just the fact that the Shanghai track suits Mercedes and Ferrari better, but they're ahead of Red Bull and McLaren in the starting grid, so that's kind of interesting. So Charles Leclerc has had a very interesting start to the season. I bring that up just because he's on pole. He started with a DNF, dropped out like 3 laps into the Bahrain Grand Prix, then he comes back, wins Saudi Arabia, and then because of the weird strategy going on in Australia with the weather, he ended up only scoring 2 points in Melbourne. So, yeah, interesting to see Leclerc's outings so far. Let's see what we got here. Weather for the race looks pretty good. R&D, we've got a bunch of stuff coming in. Still more stuff to come in. Let's go to, let's see what we have. We have 1 minor aerodynamic, 1 minor powertrain, a major chassis, a minor durability, and a minor powertrain upgrade coming in the car. Let's see what else we can get. Obviously, durability is a focus, so we'll take a look at that. I'd say it's always good to go for gearbox reliability, so I think I'll pick this one. And then Which area are we lacking in the most right now? We're 8th in terms of aero. We are 9th on the chassis chart. In the powertrain, we are 5th, or thereabouts. So, oh, this works out actually. So we have cable assembly for 1,000, which we can get, and if nothing goes wrong, we should be able to get that for the Miami Grand Prix. Improvements to the vehicle cable assembly will reduce the mass of all circuitry without any loss to its overall integrity. We'll go with that. So we got a slew of upgrades coming in, and so the next race in Miami is on May 6th. So a long gap between races. And if we look here, pretty much all of them except the gearbox upgrade are scheduled to come in before the Miami Grand Prix. Now, is that guaranteed that all of them will come in for the Miami Grand Prix? No, but we'll see if they all do come in. The morale is high everywhere, so maybe it will work out, maybe it won't, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But, no commentary as per usual, and I hope you enjoy the Chinese Grand Prix.
The Chinese Grand Prix, then, is upon us once again. It's a race that saw Michael Schumacher claim his final Formula One victory in 2006, as well as Red Bull's first win with Sebastian Vettel in 2009. There's no doubt there's plenty more drama to come here in Shanghai. We're here in the Yangtze River Delta today, home of the 16 corners that make up the Shanghai International Circuit. 54% of this 3.3-mile lap is taken at full throttle, and we'll be getting up to speeds of around 200 miles per hour with DRS assistance down the back straight before the cars break into the tight hairpin at turn 14. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Sainz, Russell, Lando Norris, Golden Boy, Verstappen, Vettel, Ricciardo, and Yuki Tsunoda. Gasly, Bottas, Nico Hülkenberg, and Ocon. Mick Schumacher, Magnussen, Oscar Piastri, and Lance Stroll. Albon, Fernando Alonso. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Latifi and Guan Yu Zhou. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. It's just about time to go down to the track for the beginning of the race, but before we expect for today's event.
Well, there's a lot that both the driver and the team have to keep in mind when going into a race. The tyres, fuel, energy recovery systems, the list goes on and on. But I think the key to today's victory will come down to the pit stop strategy. Come in too soon, and you might find yourself needing more than one stop. Too late, and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by spending longer on worn tyres.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway and the track temperature looks warm, and that may or may not play into some of the team's hands in today's race. We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 9.6 seconds. Nico's coming in for his stop now. Green flag, we're racing again, let's go. Some information on Magnussen for you. Okay, they're out of this race. ahead starting to create a gap. They're just starting to pull away from us now. Okay, be aware, the grip levels are going to start falling away soon. We're approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time. front is a second a lap faster, 1 second. Dropping a second a lap to the car behind. 1 second. Yellow flag. Okay, we want you to pit this lap, so push now, push. Here's some information on Vettel. They've got an issue with their car, they're going to be slow. Right, drop your speed, our delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately. Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please. Okay, Nico's into the pits. Nico in the pits. Copy that, hards next time we box. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. go racing again. The safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember there's no overtaking until the timing line. Safety car in this lap. Okay, clear. Good job, nice overtake. DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled. gap to your teammate behind is 12.0 seconds. Okay, gap ahead is 2.9 seconds. Gap to the car in front is 5.2 seconds. Keep on him, he might make a mistake. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 6.8 seconds. Gap to the car in front is 7.0 seconds. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 20.5 seconds. Okay, information on Verstappen. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car. Okay, that's us with 5 laps of fuel remaining. 5 laps of fuel left. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. That's a podium. Excellent drive. The team have worked especially hard this weekend, and this is a fantastic reward.
There'll be smiles at the factory after that one. A great race and a real team performance to take victory here in Shanghai. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Golden Boy increases their championship lead. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
Definitely Guan Yu Zhou, isn't it? No matter what the rest of the field threw at him, he didn't put a foot wrong. Superb drive from him.
Let's move on to the constructors. Ferrari take the lead at the top of the table. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
And that was the Chinese Grand Prix. A pretty smooth race, all things considered. Ended up in P3 by the end of it. I'm trying to remember. We started P6. I think we got up to about P5. We were behind Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton, and Sainz. And then I think Verstappen passed me at one point, and I think I passed him back. And I guess the turning point was really the safety car, which came out pretty much at the exact point when everyone would have pitted, or when everyone was going to pit. So everyone pretty much came down to their pit stop. I guess the fact that I was close enough to the cars in front of us, who were Hamilton and Sainz and Norris, sort of bunched up the Ferraris and the Red Bulls and the Mercedes, who were all coming in behind me, because right behind me were George Russell and Max Verstappen. And that sort of shook up the order a little bit. And that vaulted me to P4, because for some reason Yuki Tsunoda didn't pit. And he restarted second and ended up like pitting like right after the restart. So we ended up in P3. I think Max had an issue late. He was running 6th. He fell to 8th. Hulkenberg had a very weird strategy. He was the only driver to start on soft tires, and if you've ever played the F1 games, you'll know that starting on the soft tires in China is not the best strategy, because they wear very quickly, and you pretty much have to stop almost 5 or 6 laps into the race. So he's the only driver who had to make a two-stopper work, and you end up getting only P18. But yeah, the two DNFs. Lance Stroll, I think that's his second consecutive engine failure DNF, and Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. So, championship standings, we'll take a look at the constructors first. Everyone has scored points except for Aston Martin. Ferrari overtakes Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. With Red Bull third, McLaren fourth, and ourselves in fifth. And then AlphaTauri down in sixth, but we're well ahead of them. Driver standings, getting interesting here. So Leclerc's had a very interesting start to the season because he's had 2 wins. Then he had a DNF in the first race, and then the race in Australia where he only scored 2 points. So basically Leclerc's season so far is he's either winning the race or he's not having a good result. Lando Norris has emerged as a contender, only 8 points out of first place with 2 consecutive runner-up finishes. George Russell still in the hunt, 12 points back. Carlos Sainz, 18 points back along with Lewis Hamilton. Sebastian Vettel, it's been a poor 2 races in a row for him after winning the season opener in Bahrain. No points scored. He drops to 7th. Max Verstappen, another poor run despite having the best car in the grid. And Daniel Ricciardo scored some points, but he is still back in P9. So that is where things stand as of this moment. So yeah, that was the Chinese Grand Prix. Another podium. You know, we've had a podium every race except for the opener, because we finished on the podium in Saudi. We won in Australia, and we got a 3rd here. So, a very good start to the season. I really think, you know, with Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes so far ahead of everyone else, it's really going to be a battle between those 4 teams and myself. And now we're going to be entering the point of the season where the real contenders will start to establish themselves. And I don't know, I just find it really curious that Lando Norris is sitting 2nd in the standings with no wins. McLaren have the 2nd best car in the grid, yet they're struggling in the last couple races. Red Bull had the best car in the grid and they're struggling, yet Mercedes and Ferrari are performing pretty well. Yeah, it's very, very interesting so far, I have to say. I think I said Leclerc's 2nd or 3rd. I think Leclerc's 3rd in the standings. I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure Leclerc is 3rd. Oh, we had something fail already. That's wonderful. Let me check the standings. Leclerc is 2nd. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so we will go to the R&D. We'll take care of that failed aerodynamics upgrade. The diffuser. Good news is it should still come in for the next race, despite the failure. So we did have 1 failure that we had to take care of. R&D. Is there anything we can do that I would like to do? I could spend money on. Let's go with fabrication on the durability department. Let's fill out the calendar here. So everyone's on chassis could use some morale boosting, so we'll see if we can do anything there. Yeah, so we had time to do all of our things here, so that's great how the calendar worked out.
Could you take a look at this for us, please?
Okay, good news, it's taken a few all-nighters. but the department have hit their development deadline. It's taken real effort. This one was especially difficult to drag over the line. I think we should definitely consider some kind of recognition for their effort they've been putting in, maybe a party or something. We have the money, so we can all take the 20K hit for that. It's not a problem.
The department wants me to pass on their thanks for helping out.
Alright. Let's see what comes in and what does not. Oh, we had one failure. Great. Another failure. Okay. Two freaking failures. Are you kidding me? That's very, very annoying.
I know we were expecting some new developments to come through, but some of them have failed quality control. We'll need to tell the team what to redevelop via the R&D screen.
Alright, let's take a look. I think they were both chassis related? Yes, they were. Alright. That'll come in before Spain. And we can't get this one yet, but I imagine we should be able to after we do the practice programs in Miami. So, that is all for now. Thank you for watching the Chinese Grand Prix, and I will see you next time when we head to Miami for our second running of the Miami Grand Prix.